Welcome to this explainer. If you just pulled a letter out of your mailbox and it says CP14 across the top, I want you to take a deep breath. Seriously, because what you're holding is not a collections threat. It's not a wage garnishment, and it is definitely not the IRS coming to arrest you. A CP14 is actually the most common, most routine notice the IRS sends. And once you understand what it says and what your options are, you're going to feel a lot more in control. So let's break this down calmly and strategically. A CP14 is the IRS's way of saying, hey, based on our records, you owe this amount. That's it. It's notice number 1. It's a bill, not a demand. It lists 3 things: the tax you owe, any penalties they've calculated, and the interest that's already started accruing. And right there is where most people panic, because that total number looks bigger than what they expected. But here's the thing. That total number is not one number. It's actually 3 separate numbers stacked together. And that distinction matters enormously, because each one has different rules about what you can challenge, what you can negotiate, and what you might be able to eliminate entirely. Let me walk you through the anatomy of that balance. The first piece is the actual tax. That's the amount the IRS says you owe based on your return. Barring an error on their end, this is generally accurate, and this is the piece you do need to address. The second piece is the penalty. This is either a failure to file penalty, a failure to pay penalty, or both. And here's what most people don't realize. Penalties are negotiable. The IRS has specific documented programs for removing penalties, and we're going to talk about those in a moment. The third piece is the interest. IRS interest is charged under Internal Revenue Code Section 6621, and it compounds daily. Not monthly, not quarterly, every single day, including weekends and holidays. Even a few $1,000s can grow meaningfully over just a couple of months. Now, here's why understanding that breakdown matters strategically. You cannot negotiate the tax itself unless the IRS made an error, but you absolutely can target the penalty portion for removal. And when the penalty goes away, the interest that was calculated on top of that penalty also goes away. So removing a penalty creates a cascading savings effect. So what should you actually do? Let me give you the step-by-step playbook. Step 1, do not ignore this notice. I know it's tempting to set it aside and deal with it later, but the CP14 is the first notice in a very specific sequence. If you ignore it, about 5 weeks later, you'll get a CP501, then a CP503, then a CP504, which is a notice of intent to levy, meaning the IRS is telling you they're about to seize your state tax refund and potentially your bank account or wages. The CP14 stage is the easy stage. You have time, you have options, and the IRS is still in friendly reminder mode. Use that window. Step 2, verify the numbers. The IRS makes errors more often than people expect. Before you do anything, check their math. You want to know your exact failure to file penalty, your exact failure to pay penalty, and your exact daily interest figure. A free calculator at ustaxpenaltysaver.com does exactly this. You enter your tax amount, your due date, and when you filed or plan to pay. And it computes your precise breakdown using the same formulas the IRS uses. If the IRS's number is different from what the calculator shows, you have grounds to dispute. Step 3. Check if you qualify for penalty relief. This is the part that changes everything for most people. The IRS has a program called First-Time Abatement. It's an administrative policy buried in the Internal Revenue Manual, Section 20.1.1.3.3.2.1. And it says, if you've been compliant for the last 3 years, the IRS will remove an entire year of failure to file or failure to pay penalties. No excuse needed. No hardship proof required. You just have to ask. There's a simple 3-question test. Have you filed all required returns? Have you paid what you owe or set up a payment plan? Were the 3 prior tax years penalty-free? If yes to all 3, you very likely qualify. And you can request it with a single phone call to 800-829-1040 or by mailing a letter. If you don't qualify for first-time abatement, maybe you had a penalty 2 years ago. You still have the reasonable cause route. If something real happened in your life that prevented you from filing or paying on time, a medical emergency, a death in the family, a natural disaster, reliance on a professional who dropped the ball, you can write a reasonable cause letter using the IRS's own 4-factor framework, and the penalty can still be removed.
Step 4. Know your payment options. Even after penalty relief, you may still owe the underlying tax, and that's okay. You have options. You can pay in full and stop the interest clock immediately. You can set up an installment agreement. If you owe under $50,000, you can often do this online without even talking to anyone. You can apply for an offer in compromise if your financial situation means you genuinely cannot pay the full amount. Or you can request currently not collectible status if paying anything at all would put you in hardship. The tool at ustaxpenaltysaver.com actually reads your situation and shows you which relief programs you're most likely to qualify for, ranked by probability. So instead of guessing, you're making an informed, strategic decision.
Let me leave you with this. A CP14 notice is not the end of the world. It's actually the beginning of a process that you have significant control over. The taxpayers who get hurt are the ones who ignore it and let the collection sequence escalate. The taxpayers who come out ahead are the ones who verify their numbers, check their eligibility for penalty relief, and make a structured move while they're still in the early stage. You can start right now, for free, at ustaxpenaltysaver.com. Run your numbers, see your options, and take that first strategic step. This is general information, not legal or tax advice. Based on your specific account history, you may or may not qualify for penalty relief. For your particular situation, consult a licensed tax professional.